Happy hour here at Kansas Speedway. The GOAT is your pole sitter for the Banquet 400, and here he comes to complete his first lap of the warm-up session before the race today. It's going to be quite cloudy. It's fall in Kansas, even though I'm recording this in March, and this video is coming out in April. No matter, they're at 30.8, slamming Jana Fogelman's time there, currently the second fastest. And here he comes on Jana Fogelman now. A few drivers exiting the pits to start laps as the GOAT goes spinning, wrecks his rear end into the wall, is backwards, scraping the wall. Samai able to get past without much issue there. The GOAT backwards onto the track. He gets taken out by Colin Cropley, right into Cropley's path. More accurate. Oh dear, Lyle Austin slams into the GOAT's car, and that's his happy hour session over before it can even begin. Much of the same for Colin Cropley. He didn't take out the GOAT so much as the GOAT just backed into his car there, but Cropley starts second in the Banquet 400 today, and yeah, he's just coming out of the pits here, trying to start a lap, and there's the GOAT out of nowhere. Same story with Lyle Austin, but I mean, Lyle Austin, he just begins to accelerate despite seeing a spinning car ahead of him. I mean, that's artificial stupidity. What else can I say? It's a good thing Riley Spurley, Patrick Smith were able to avoid that car. Unlike Lyle Austin with the GOAT there. Yeah, and yeah, again, Colin Cropley is going to have to bring it back to the garage, get all of that stuff repaired before he can put in some laps in happy hour. It's just another day in the 2023 NASCAR AAA Cup Series, which is coming to a close quite soon, sooner than you think. Hello everyone and welcome to Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas, as opposed to Kansas City, Missouri. I'll never figure that one out. For the Banquet 400. Yes, this race is sponsored by those dollar frozen meals that Scott Wozniak describes as having cancer as its primary ingredient and tasting like nickels. Just what we needed. ConAgra, of course, also makes Healthy Choice. And how healthy that is really depends on how many other lies you've absorbed about this great country we live in. Anyways, we have the GOAT on pole, starting alongside Colin Cropley, who's just near the bottom of that cutoff line. 7 races to go. This is the 7th to last race. There'll be 6 after this one. So again, a lot of these people really need to get it into gear and pull out some really good performances today. Colin Cropley is one of those drivers, and yeah, he definitely needs a really good result there, and he looks poised for that today, starting second. If Patrick Smith finishes high up enough, then unfortunately, Colin Cropley is going to be out of the running for the championship. But again, he starts second today alongside the GOAT, so that's definitely good news here. But I don't know about you, but this one shaping up to be a cracker? Not sure. Could very well turn into another domination job for the GOAT. Again, about 20 cars, I believe, are left in the running, actually. Sounds about right. I think maybe it's 23. Definitely down to half the field now, but again, the bottom section of those 20 or so drivers still left in the running. We'll probably end up just getting knocked out very soon if, Smith, Monaco, and Bracken continue to string of good performances today. As you can see, they're starting to the back of the field. Monaco way back there. But anyways, second row, Lucas Evans and Steve Morgan, Max Davis and Eli Wolf in the third row, Reggie Fogelman and Joe Allen, both drivers have been eliminated, I think. The one starting in the fourth row got that sentence in very well. I don't know. Gerald Pepper starts alongside Matthew Burnett. Annie Thomas and Gil Samai in the sixth row. Behind them, we've got White, we've got PK, Voiles, Özkan, Trickle, Bracken, Footlago, Harvey, Smith, Wells, Ebrahimian, Charlebois, Taiki, Zane, Monaco, Shadowval, Jenkins, Austin, Langestein, Spurley, Floba, Whitlock, Sato, and Franco rounding out the field. Okay, not quite running out the field. Okay, Jana Fogelman, Rocky Johnson, and your 20th row, Amy Hicks and Montero Sound. So, 67 laps around what people describe as a cookie-cutter racetrack. Very similar in design to Las Vegas and Chicagoland, 1.5-mile tri-ovals. But to be honest, there's only been 3 1.5-mile tri-oval races this season. In fact, there have been more quad-oval races, of course, and there still are some quad-oval races to go. We go back to Lowe's, we go back to Atlanta. I believe we go back to Texas. Maybe not Texas, but we definitely go back to Lowe's in Atlanta before the end of the season. So, yeah, those are the ones that are looking really cookie-cutter, but I mean, both Texas and Atlanta actually used to be good back in the day, and Lowe's is Lowe's. Charlotte is Charlotte. I'm not going to have a single person knocking Charlotte. Of course, I can dump over the Roval as much as I want, but as for the regular 1.5 or so mile quad oval, ooh la la, it's just fantastic. But again, take notice of the top 3 in the point standings here, and where they start today. Bracken starts ahead of Patrick Smith, who starts ahead of Eric Monaco. Eric Monaco near the back of the field here. So all 3 of those drivers definitely need to put in some overtakes of the week and score some good points in order to extend their lead. Obviously, that's the goal for Patrick Smith. As for Monaco and Bracken, is to finish far enough ahead of Patrick Smith to close that gap. Smith still leads by about 20 points or so. Maybe 30, but either way. More importantly for now, the pace car is off. And the green flag is out. We are underway here at Kansas Motor Speedway, or just Speedway, no motor in it because we can drive bikes here, I suppose. But Colin Cropley has a better start than the GOAT on the outside line here. The GOAT sliding through turn 1 there. Oh, he saves it. Oh, that was exciting. The GOAT saving the car from a slide there, exiting turn 2. Through turns 1 and 2, that is. But Colin Cropley now leads the race. Here comes the GOAT. He dives to the inside. Cropley just lets it happen. How about that? Goat back into the race lead here. Can he hold it? Is he going to slide the car again? It doesn't look like it. The GOAT to lead lap 1. That was the Banquet 400. The winner, of course, receives a banquet meal of his choice, or her choice, hashtag feminism, but I think feminism would dictate that you avoid banquet meals altogether. Steve Morgan runs third ahead of Max Davis. Here's Eli Wolf in fifth ahead of Lucas Evans. Reggie Fogelman, Gerald Pepper, Joe Allen, and Gil Samai appear to make up your top 10. We have a 3 wide with Voiles, Thomas, and Burnett back here around the 10th place position or so. Burnett sliding back there. Now he's 3 wide with White and Harvey there. More sliding up here, it seems. That must have been the GOAT. Maybe it was a bit of a lockup there, but everything seems to be fine for the moment. Again, 3 wide once again. We have Wells, Trickle, and PK 3 wide, following Harvey, White, and Burnett. Things getting very bunched up here, right for an accident, I think. But everybody keeping their cool so far, keeping calm and focused here. You can see Patrick Smith running side by side with Christian Bracken. Remember, their championship rivals, and Eric Monaco following close behind. He has Zane and Footlago in his way, but he can see the 2 drivers fighting with him for the championship, his teammate and Patrick Smith in the Wood Brothers 21. And honestly, I kind of like this design much more than the modern Wood Brothers ones, even though, of course, they sort of go for a more vintage, classic style of paint scheme. And when I say that, I'm actually referring to about the 2013 or so paint schemes. I think those were Motorcraft as well, but yeah, of course I'm picturing, for example, the Trevor Bayne car from his Daytona 500 win. I think that design stayed pretty consistent throughout, but yeah. For now, Christian Bracken losing position to Estacio PK, so Patrick Smith, despite starting behind Christian Bracken, runs ahead of her so far in the Banquet 400. Eric Monaco still behind both of those drivers there. You can see his teammate right ahead. Take a look through faster running order, I suppose. The GOAT has broken away from the pack here. Who knows How long that will last, that remains to be seen. But real quick at your fastest laps here, the GOAT for 30.8, very similar to his happy hour time earlier today. Steve Morgan has the second fastest lap of the session so far, 31.2. Colin Cropley, who runs second, ahead of Morgan for 31.3. Gerald Pepper and Eli Wolf both have 31.4s, as do Samaya, Evans, and Davis. Then we have Reggie Fogelman and Thomas with 31.5s. Slowest car on the track right now appears to be Dylan Ebrahimian for 32.3. And that's obviously indicative of his actual race pace here. As you can see, he runs near the back of the field. The car is a bit faster than him, run behind. But anyways, yeah, that's the GOAT leading the race as mentioned. Cropley and Morgan in second and third. Davis fourth, Wolf fifth, Evans sixth, Reggie Fogelman seventh, Pepper eighth, Samaya ninth. And you have two DEI cars duking it out for the last of the top 10 positions here. Thomas and Voiles. Thomas has the inside and looks good for that position here, but Voiles is going to continue to defend from the outside line, which works very well at this racetrack. And I'm saying that from personal experience running it today. There are a lot of times when I just run extremely wide, really close to the wall, because I don't quite get the deceleration correct. But yeah, Thomas has that position. Harvey 12th, Wells his teammate 13th. Allen up at 14th here, ahead of White, Burnett. There's Joey Trickle. PK, Zane, Smith appears to round out your top 20. He's fighting with Samit Özkan for that position here. Bracken, Jenkins, Falego, and Monaco behind. Here are Flobo, Taiki, Shalbaugh, Spurley, Shotoval, Jana Fogelman, Langestein, Sato, Austin, Ebrahimian, Salin, Whitlock, Hicks, Franco, and running in 40th position, last of the cars, Rocky Johnson. I feel like we've seen that before. Anyways, yeah, as you can see, the GOAT continuing to break away from the pack here. We'll take a look real fast at his rear camera. You can appreciate the gap he has to Cropley and Morgan. Morgan falling very close behind Cropley at present here. The GOAT, yeah, sliding through there, not quite taking the inside line, something more of the middle, but getting back onto it, heading through the tri-oval here to lead another lap, start lap 10 of the Banquet 400. See him bottoming out through turns 1 and 2 there. That seems to be a sort of feature of the setup. I basically took the Jasper Motorsports setup and added some more grill tape, as usual. But also, it seems as if I kept maxing out too early, heading into turn 1, and also to some extent into turn 3. So I've had this problem with quite a few of the Jasper Motorsports engine setups. Well, car setups in general, but specifically with the engine drivetrain. The fourth gear ratio is at 1.0. Usually I drop it down to 0.92. 0.96 might work, but 0.92 working quite well for me. Yeah, I probably could have afforded to go with 0.92. Maybe this is a Captain Obvious moment, but it seems as if the cars are a bit faster when the conditions are a bit colder and cloudy compared to sunny, clear, and a little bit hotter. Wind notwithstanding. Not sure if that's supposed to be the case, but it definitely seems that that has occurred for me, especially when, of course, you see that practice and qualifying are cloudy, but happy hour and the race are sunny. We've seen quite a lot of that. Most of the races this season have been sunny, which is quite fortunate because obviously I think that the track and the cars look much nicer when the conditions are clear compared to right now when they kind of look a little bit wonky. I think we saw that at Talladega where we had that thing happen, the same thing that happened at, I believe, Michigan as well, even though Michigan was sunny, where the tires appeared to be shining much more brightly than the cars. Actually, at Michigan, the tires appeared to be much more yellow, and that happened with a TV2 camera, but as for here, no, not here, but Talladega, the tires appear to be grayer. In fact, you can kind of see that right now. Look at the tires. They kind of seem a bit much more of a lighter, faded color than the usual, black tires that you're expecting to see. In fact, I think you can kind of see those tires right now. This shot right here, the tires look a bit blacker. Here, they kind of look a little bit lighter. Maybe that's not quite that easy to see, but as you can see, not much happening in this race. Cropley still leads from Morgan. Eli Wolf is still ahead of Lucas Evans here. Samaya, Richie Fogelman, Pepper, and Thomas are still 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Apparently I can math super well. Harvey still runs ahead of his teammate. Voiles lost 2 positions, it seems like, after losing 10 of Ted Thomas. Allen and PK duking it out for 14th here. Burnett follows in 16th. He could be well within this fight as well. Trickle and White, similar story. Here are Zane, Özkan. Smith still ahead of Bracken here, but Smith still behind Özkan. Jenkins separates Monaco from Bracken. Flobo following very close behind. And yeah, things have all single filed out. Usually things are a little bit more bunched up in the back of the field at this point of the race. Goat's already in lap 16 as Rocky Johnson begins that lap. Goat through turns 3 and 4, so already the Goat is within range of the back markers. It has them in sight. Taking a look through turn 1 here. Can't see them quite yet. As we get down onto the back stretch here, this is one of those times when the Goat runs a little bit wide through the turn. Already starting to feel the effects of tire wear. The right front tire definitely wears out quite quickly at these 1.5 mile tri-ovals. But yeah, actually the back mark is not yet within range for the Goat, but well, there have been some races like Chicagoland. I think Chicagoland was one of those. I forget exactly how that race went on. No, actually no, Chicagoland wasn't a domination job. The Goat spun out early on and came back to win. I'm trying to think, the races that I dominated but didn't lap the whole field in. I'm forgetting what they are. But yeah, they were more like races where I wasn't breaking away from the field and I didn't have a chance to go on a worldie and lap the field as I did at Dover. Dover was the one. Dover was the one I was thinking of. That was just before Talladega, right? Again, I have the worst memory, but coming up on 33% race distance here, and again, not much to report. Maybe these cookie cutter 1.5 mile tri-oval racetracks aren't all that exciting after all. I mean, Kansas is just in the middle of a bunch of, grass and wheat and corn. Actually, I don't know what grows in Kansas, but I bet people who live in Kansas do, and will be more than happy to correct this weird old city boy, Yankee, in the comments. But, yeah. Chicagoland was a bit more interesting because it was much more exciting, especially with my spin and such. And weren't there two whole AI crashes as well? Pretty sure Chris Harvey mentioned that to me. And again, you'd think I'd remember, but yeah, no. I pretty much wing all of these videos. That's obviously been my MO this whole season. So yeah. But who was I getting to? Las Vegas is Las Vegas. You can't fault Las Vegas. Even though I led that race from start to and lapped the whole field. Was Las Vegas boring? Maybe. But it was Las Vegas. I'm extremely biased, and I think even if I weren't biased, I'd say it's Las Vegas. Come on. I love Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's awesome. And driving there in the game genuinely makes me feel like I'm over there right now. It's quite a ways away from my house. Basically, Las Vegas Motor Speedway is on the way to Nellis Air Force Base, and it's a bit northeast of the city. Quite northeast, in fact. I used to live on the east side of Las Vegas, so definitely much closer to the speedway, but it was still quite a drive even from there. But now I live basically on the complete opposite side of town, and so obviously it takes a lot longer to get to the speedway. I don't even remember the last time I went to the speedway, to be honest. I don't remember the last time I went to a race. Might have been 2018 or so. First race I ever went to was the 2012 Cobalt Tools 400. I believe it was called the Cobalt Tools 400. It was definitely called that in 2013. But yeah, 2012. I think both of those times I went, it's because either my mom or aunt, who worked at my old Catholic school, got free tickets. Actually, my mom worked at what the Catholic high school that I ended up going to, but she didn't work there for very long. But yeah, someone somewhere got free tickets, offered them to my dad. I'm pretty sure we went. Yeah, pretty sure we went with one of his friends. It might have been one of his friends who was responsible for those free tickets. But anyways, yeah, we went in 2012. I wasn't all that interested, but I remember in 2013 when I went, all of a sudden something clicked, and that season, basically, my dad and I really followed that season really closely. Here's the GOAT coming up on the back markers finally. He's on lap 25. They're on lap 24. He's about to cross to lead 25 of the 67 laps in this race. So 42 to go. And yeah, the GOAT shows no signs of letting up here. He gets past Johnson. He's going to get past Franco. Not much issue there. But anyways, yeah. Not sure if I've ever mentioned who my favorite NASCAR driver is, but it's Kyle Busch. We kind of like Kurt Busch too, because they're from Las Vegas. But besides that, never had a problem with Jeff Gordon. For some reason, my dad didn't like Jimmy Johnson, so I kind of joined in on that. But I don't really have any reason to dislike Jimmy Johnson. Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, we hate those guys, no doubt. Harvick kind of gets a pass from me. I don't really know why I hate him, but I definitely know why we hate Keselowski and Logano. It's because they usually ruin things for Kyle Busch, our favorite driver. And yeah, during that time, I was much more into M&M's than my childhood favorite candy, Skittles. But whatever. Skittles are Skittles. But M&M's are M&M's. Yeah. The first NASCAR diecast I bought was the 2013 Kyle Busch M&M's car. The other ones I have are kind of out there. Like there's a Tony Stewart car from that era, the Austin Dillon car from I believe 2014, the Dow Chemicals one. There's like the Carl Edwards UPS, which was like a free car that you got for like signing up for like NASCAR.com or something. I don't quite remember. I had I think I also bought the Ricky Stenhouse Zest car, just because I kind of like that, and I still use Zest soap to this day. That's just how much of a weirdo I am, you know. And this is much more true nowadays, but I am a sucker for stupid shit. And that definitely informs a lot of my purchasing decisions when it comes to coins and paper money. I love to get like the oh dear, that's the GOAT just ramming into Shadowvault's car, clearly making his intentions known. He does not want these back markers getting into his way, and that just ruins Ashley Shadowvault's race. She drops from 24th to 32nd in the space of 2 turns, thanks to the GOAT. How about that? How about that? Imagine that. As you can see here, the GOAT lapping, Sabrina Futlego in 23rd, so he's going to be coming up on the top 20 very soon. And, yeah, that's pretty much all that there has been to occur in this race here. We could have been running through the order, the sidebar, this whole time, but I find it very unlikely that any positions changed at any point so far. I think Samet Özkan might have dropped out of the top 20 there. Yeah, he's up at 25th. And, yeah, that means the GOAT recently lapped. And here comes the GOAT on the 2 Dodge Evernham cars. Evernham cars. Evernham Dodge cars. The Dodge Evernham Dodge cars. The Dodge cars. Monaco and Bracken. You can see Smith up ahead in front of Flo. Oh dear, the GOAT making contact with Bracken and the wall. Trying to get past both of those drivers there. But he's held it together. He's passed Flobo and Smith without much resistance here. Trickle and Zane next. Then 2 DEI cars. White, Voiles, and then PK. Scraping the side of PK's car there. And yeah, he's passed all of those drivers. Coming up on the halfway point of this race here, PK has better acceleration. So once again, seems as if it's actually been a case this whole time of the GOAT being a bit slower on the straights, but faster through the turns, and you know that's just the way the GOAT likes it. Matthew Burnett, running 13th, is next. Oh, dear me. So, yeah. Yeah, we followed 2013, and obviously the man we wanted to win that year was Kyle Busch, and like, I distinctly remember when my dad and I were watching the Auto Club 400. That's still one of our favorite races ever. Obviously the finish is the most memorable thing, but that finish there, you know, Hamlin and Logano fighting it out, then they end up crashing each other off, Busch steaming by on the outside line and taking the win. That was amazing. My dad and I were so elated. Seriously, we were jumping for joy because that was just awesome. I think pretty soon we'll start seeing the drivers coming into the pits here. A fuel stop is needed. Once again, just a splash of fuel necessary, but the GOAT most definitely is suffering from tire wear here, and that's obvious given his pace for the turns here. Still faster than the other drivers, it seems, but yeah, definitely wearing out those front tires, the right especially. But yeah, again, I think very soon you'll start to see drivers coming into the pits here. I think that Cropley's going to end up catching up to Johnson soon. Maybe not, but more importantly, the question is whether the GOAT can catch up to Cropley, because it's quite obvious that the GOAT's end objective in this race is to lap the whole field. He dispatches Harvey and Reggie Fogelman without much issue here. Here he goes past Thomas. He nudges Pepper out of the way. Oh dear, Pepper was having a great race, and that's just slowed him down horrendously there. He's going to lose loads of positions here. That's him down into 11th, I think. He's not going to be the least bit pleased with the GOAT for that one. Meanwhile, the GOAT getting past Gil Samaya, one of the fastest cars this whole season, as mentioned many times this season. Yeah, the GOAT able to get past him. Samaya looking like he was able to put up a little bit of resistance there. But yeah, next on the chopping block for the GOAT, Evans and Davis. Davis runs 5th here, behind Wolf and Morgan. Cropley's still 2nd, so again, those positions have not changed at all. And oh, Morgan slowing down. Here he comes into the pits. How are things in the pits? Anybody else in here? Ashley Schottevold in the pits. Of course, she has some damage to the car that's going to need to be repaired. She's getting 4 tires here. Let's see if that repair doesn't take too long. It might, but more importantly, there's Steve Morgan, first of the cars up front into the pits here. We've got a few other drivers coming on here. There are Thomas, Pepper, Wells in the background. Schottevold's coming out of her pit stall now. PK White, Voiles, Smith. I think that's Bracken in the background. Oh dear, Zane spins Lego, trying to get into his pit stall here. But yeah, okay, let's see how we get on there. Morgan out of the pit stall now. Joe Allen coming in. Pepper getting those tires. I think he might have to also repair some damage on his car. Thomas comes out. Yeah, Pepper's going to be stuck there for a while. That's unfortunate here, but there are Wells. Something went wrong with Allen, I think. Oh dear. PK comes out ahead of Cropley coming into the pits now. That's Cropley. Here's the GOAT. The GOAT making contact with Evans and Davis, I think. Oh dear, Evans just having a bad time. Trying to get into his pit stall here. The GOAT into his pit stall now. Cropley about to finish up his pit stop here. Evans starting it here. I think something's gone wrong with Allen and Wolf. They appear to be stuck on pit road. Reggie Fogelman as well. Cropley comes out. The GOAT finishing up his pit stop here. Davis is going to exit as well. Here comes the GOAT. Right inside of him. Oh dear. Steve Morgan takes 2nd place from Colin Cropley after the fight off pit road comes to its conclusion there. I think that's Max Davis running 4th now. The GOAT still in the lead. Now he has Davis, Cropley, and Morgan to get ahead of. But yeah, it remains to be seen just how things shape up in this fight off pit road here. Samaya ahead of Mathis Wells. Not quite. There's Evans, Harvey, PK, Flober, Burnett, Trickle, Monica, White, Voiles, Bracken, Jenkins, Langenstein, Jana Fogelman, Hicks, Austin, Whitlock, Schottevold, Spurley, Smith, Tanky, Yoskan, Salon, Santos, Falega, Shalbaugh, Joel Pepper, Frank Abrahamian, Johnson, Morgan. Okay. So yeah, Wolf, Allen, and Reggie Fogelman stuck on pit road. What a disaster. Zane as well. Oh dear. Something clearly went wrong with the AI as they tried to get into their pit stalls here, and these guys are going to be stuck on pit road for about 5 laps or so. Spoiler alert. Yeah, Steve Morgan runs 2nd here. Quite a long ways ahead of Colin Cropley. Same with Max Davis. The GOAT ahead of Annie Thomas, who runs 5th now in this race here. Annie Thomas catching up to the GOAT, trying to make the move on the inside, but slowing up much more than the GOAT actually through turns 1 and 2, and that seems to be the theme here with the AI. I think they slow a bit too much through the turns, and that lets the GOAT dive bomb them through those. They cover off the inside line. especially through turns 3 and 4. But otherwise, not too much of an obstacle. I'm getting hungry. Oh man. Let's see what's going on here. Seems like I need to be texting my family as usual. It's not unusual to be loved by everyone. I don't know why that was the thing come to mind here. Unfortunately, my opponent has a knight and an outpost from which it cannot be shaken, and yeah, the pawn chain's also very good, so it's also an issue here. But fortunately, the king is safe. What should I do here? Real fast, I guess I'll just move rook c8 to defend c7. Was that it? I guess that's it. Alright, is that done? Okay. Yeah, but after 2013, our interest in it kind of dwindled. In 2013, I also got into Formula One. Yeah, I remember being a Vettel fan. Obviously, I wanted the Ferraris to do well, but it was obvious to me, even as a 13-year-old, that they just weren't performing well enough. And never really was a big fan of Alonso. I kind of like Massa more. And that gets into this weird, irrational dislike that my dad has of Spanish people. Maybe this isn't really the appropriate forum. Maybe I shouldn't even get into this at all, but I don't know. For some reason, my dad doesn't like Spanish people. That's actually not true. He has nothing against Spanish people, but he kind of doesn't like Spain. The thing is, like, his excuse is that, you know, the conquistadores, like, you know, Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro, you know, were brutal to the indigenous people. And I think that's true in a sense. Obviously, they were conquerors. You know, obviously they waged war. But I believe both of those particular conquistadores, perhaps the most recognizable to students of world history, weren't nearly as brutal as some of the other ones that don't get mentioned nearly as much, who actually just genuinely, you know, disliked the indigenous people, saw them as inferior races and such. In order to win, Cortés and Pizarro had to work together with some of the other indigenous tribes. Yeah, he doesn't like Columbus, first of all, because of course Columbus ended up, you know, starting the whole shebang. Anybody who's watched Knowing Better's video on Columbus, for example, will hopefully not come away with the idea that Columbus was like an angel, but that, yeah, you know, he wasn't nearly as bad as people make him out to be nowadays. Of course, Columbus lends his name to the former Salvadoran currency, the colon, which features Columbus on it. I think all of the notes have Columbus on them, and the later ones also feature watermarks of him. Cool. But yeah, that's the funniest thing about my dad's somewhat irrational dislike of Spain. I won't call it hatred, because hatred is a strong emotion. My dad's not a hateful person, but I mean, if it weren't for Spain conquering the New World, we wouldn't exist. Oops. I think maybe my dad even genuinely did once say that he'd rather not exist. Like that was a non-issue to him. I don't know. Now, I have reasons to be biased against Spain because their Spanish is atrocious. You know, they speak with lisps. They call it Castilian for some reason. They've got these other regional variants like Asturian, Leonese, Aragonese. Then, like, you know, well, okay, Galician and Catalan are two entirely different languages. And then don't get me started on Basque. Basque is a real anomaly. But more importantly, kind of went a bit too far off topic here. Somehow I got here from F1. Yeah, Alonso. Yeah. I'm a Verstappen fan. I want Verstappen to smash Lewis Hamilton's records because I never really liked Lewis Hamilton. I really got sick of him, you know, crushing the competition for a span of like 6 years. Seriously, 6 years. And how funny that 2020 ended up being the most dominant year for Mercedes out of all of them, I think. think 16 was like that, obviously, but Rosberg won that time around. But yeah, obviously I was really miffed about Sebastian Vettel just not doing well enough in the Ferrari. I've always been a Ferrari fan since I was a kid. I love Ferrari. I loved having the Ferrari Hot Wheels, the Lego sets that they used to make. That's the GOAT just knocking Johnson out of the way as he laps Colin Cropley. So, last on the list is going to be Steve Morgan here. Eli Wolf runs 37, so he's back out onto the racetrack. He's 5 laps down. Zane Allen and Reggie Fogelman 6. Yeah, so they're still in the race for some reason, but as you can see, Morgan sandwiched between Ebrahimian and Wolf. Back to my silly discussion that we've been able to have this whole race because nothing of interest has been occurring. Small chicken. Another reason I've been able to have this whole discussion is because no one's home right now. Hello. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, always liked Ferrari, so wanted to like Ferrari, even when Vettel wasn't there. 2013 was obviously the GOAT year. 2014 wasn't that good. Mercedes dominated, and they ended up winning and winning. 15 and 17, and even 18 looked like such good years for Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari, but they just couldn't handle it. Vettel kept like cracking under pressure and making mistakes. And honestly, throughout that time, we kind of weren't really focusing on NASCAR. We were miffed when Kyle Busch got injured at the 2015 Daytona 500, but obviously we're absolutely elated when he ended up coming back to win the Cup, which, of course, obviously, you know, leads into my whole dislike of the modern playoff system. But the GOAT nudging Steve Morgan's rear end there, getting past both him and Wolf. Ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT has left the whole field at the Banquet 400. 3 cheers. The Intimidator is on fire. I wish his car would actually blow up, but as you can see, Gerald Pepper, he completely ruined his race. The GOAT did. Gerald Pepper was running up near the top 10, and now he's down to 33rd after a lengthy spell on pit road to repair the damage caused by the GOAT. I think Shadowvolt's all the way near the back of the field as well. Yeah, in 28th, behind both of our teammates. GOAT getting past Pepper there. Pepper would have been very well justified in trying to ruin the GOAT's race. His dominant race here at Kansas. But yeah, after that, our interest in NASCAR kind of fell off. I really followed F1 in 15, 17, 18. Not really as much. Definitely got back into it in 2020, because of course that was the year when, you know, people had nothing else to do, and F1, yeah, got by. They managed to pull together a schedule. Of course, it's a real bummer that the F1 2020 game didn't end up including, you know, Imola, Mugello, and Istanbul. A lot of those old classic tracks, plus some new ones we hadn't gone to, like Portimao. But, well, oh well. At least we still have Singapore. Vietnam, probably. I don't think Vietnam really had potential. I think the Vietnamese Grand Prix has died a very unfortunate premature death. Bummer. It's going to be 10 laps to go when the GOAT crosses the line. And yeah, even now I'm not really following motorsport too much. I realized that I was awake, I think, for the Bahrain Grand Prix, but I forgot that it was on. Yeah, exactly. I remember now. I was sitting downstairs with the dog because she always wakes us up very early in the morning because she wants to eat. Yeah, that's the GOAT. Oh dear, the GOAT getting it to Antonin Charlebois, his teammate. He's not going to be the least pleased with him, but Charlebois has no reason to be happy about that strange arrangement either, and that little spat that these two drivers have just had here on lap 59, which is the GOAT's lap. Yeah, lap 59, which is Charlebois' lap 57, the GOAT lapping him for the second time today. He's looking at whom else? Who else here? Yeah, Shadowvolt and Whitlock are next. He's going to ruin Shadowvolt's race again. With your lap times, I think the GOAT's first fastest lap. Did he improve on it by like 6 thousandths? I don't know, but Morgan has the second fastest lap, then Cropley, Smith, Pepper, Wolf, Evans, Tyke, Samaya, and Davis. Not much help for Pepper, who's running near the back of the field here, and Wolf, who's a number of laps down. And that's the GOAT nudging Whitlock out of the way, sending her into the wall. Goat really not making friends with Chip Ganassi. Although I bet Richard Childress has had to bring his brown pants to this race because the Goat is tearing it up. But again, like at Dover, probably being a little bit too hard on the car. Oh, man. Is there anything else to discuss? Social, political issues. You know, the takeaway from the AI conversation at the end of Metal Gear Solid 2 is not that, oh yeah, well, I'm obviously better than these people because I only get my news from alternative media who feed me nothing but the truth and such. That's the wrong message to take away. The message at the end, that's the Goat. Sandy Lyle lost it into the wall. Now he loses position to Riley Spurley. Aren't they both PPI cars actually? Forget, but well, another driver to be unhappy with the Goat. Patrick Smith getting lapped, and actually, both Monaco and Bracken are ahead of him. That must have happened on pit road. Not going to be a good result for Patrick Smith, but I think he'll still be able to command the lead in the standings by race's end. So that's cool. Yeah. People always say that Hideo Kojima was ahead of his time, but you really need to only look back at that time to realize that nothing really ever changed. For us, it either merely became more obvious or worse. The state of the world in which we were living. Remember, Metal Gear Solid 2 takes place in 2008? 2007 through 2009. Obviously, it didn't really predict the economic recession, but obviously the economic recession of 2008. Yeah. That did ultimately make it more obvious how much of a crap sack world we live in. So we've got NASCAR, our breaded circuses, but it costs way too much nowadays, because everything costs too much nowadays. Like McDonald's prices have all gone up by like a whole $1.50 in the past 3 years, and it's ridiculous. Hell, back in 2020 I thought its prices were way too high. 2 laps to go for the Goat, who has a Burger King decal on his car. That's something that completely slipped my mind. Of course, when I worked for McDonald's, I was obviously biased against all the other fast food chains. But, after leaving McDonald's, I kind of opened up to them. I always kind of dismissed Burger King as a joke, as you do. But in hindsight, I don't really eat at Burger King, but the things I have had, like the Chiking, which isn't on the menu for some reason anymore, and the Bacon King, those are pretty good. So yeah, white flag is out. This is the final lap. The Goat has led from pole. He only briefly lost the lead to Colin Cropley on lap 1, but he's led 66 out of the 67 laps, and he's on to lead this last one here. He's past Bracken. He's past Trickle. I think Monaco's next. He's going to be able to beat Monaco to the line. Not quite. Not Flobo either. More importantly, checkered flag waves. The Goat wins the Banquet 400. And he wins a banquet meal. I don't remember. Last time I ate a banquet meal, funnily enough, was after work. After one late shift at McDonald's one night. And it was terrible. Well, I could have told you that. So, victory for the Goat. Drove a great race today, as usual. Steve Morgan comes home second, Colin Cropley third, Max Davis fourth, Gil Samaya fifth, Lucas Evans sixth, Annie Thomas seventh, Mathis Wells eighth, Matthew Burnett ninth, and rounding out your top 10 today, Chris Harvey. Here comes the Goat to the front stretch to give us some victory donuts. Here we go. That's exciting stuff. Oh dear, Rocky Johnson's still on the racetrack. Why is that? Uh-oh. Oh, dearie me. Rocky Johnson piling into the GOAT's car, totaling her own, and ending the GOAT's victory celebrations a bit prematurely. What the hell was that about? This is the thing that I feared would happen at some point in the season after one of my race wins. For some reason, Rocky Johnson saw fit to stay out on the track and just wreck into me. You even see it in the outro, actually. Not sure how many you've watched the outro, but as I'm doing the Victory Donuts at Las Vegas, there's another car who's just, who just drives right past. Unfortunately, doesn't crash into me. Otherwise, obviously, I wouldn't have used that clip, but yeah. Mathis Wells, the last of the cars besides Rocky Johnson to come back into the pits here. I think this image actually summarizes Rocky Johnson's season. Not exactly the best street cred for Cheerios. Take a look at your official results here. The GOAT wins today. Started from pole, led all 67 laps, 185 points. You love to see it. Steve Morgan, Colin Cropley, Max Davis, Gil Samaya, Lucas Evans, Danny Thomas, Mathis Wells, Matthew Burnett, Chris Harvey round out your top 10 as mentioned. All of them finished one lap down. Estacio PK, Eric Monaco, Bob and Flobo came home a lap down as well. Joey Trickle, Christian Bracken, Daniel Voiles, Brittany White, Amy Hicks, Leroy Jenkins, and Harry Langestein came home 2 laps down, as did Smith, Spurley, Austin, Taiki, Yoskan, Shadowval, Jana Fogelman, Whitlock, Charlebois, Sato, Pepper, Futlego, Sal, Abrahamian, Johnson, and Franco. 6 laps down today, Wolf, Zane, and Allen, and 7 laps down in last place, Reggie Fogelman. All 40 cars finished today. How about that? New qualifying times, yep. The GOAT had a faster lap in the race than in qualifying, which took place under the sun. So, again, that sort of confirms my theory. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I have to bear some bad news. The cutoff is 852 points, meaning that, unfortunately, despite Colin Cropley finishing 3rd today, he is out of the running for the Cup. I think Flobo was out already, Langestein and Shadowval, they're also out, obviously, but unfortunately, also eliminated PK Taiki, and of course, after a last place finish today, Reggie Fogelman. Matthew Burnett, 6 points ahead of the cutoff. Burnett. But his chances kind of look not there. Again, all eyes are going to be on the top 10 here. All these drivers here very close together, but Samaya, the GOAT, Bracken, yeah. The GOAT actually catching up to Bracken here, so he's within the running now, but again, Bracken is many points behind Monaco and Smith, who are both very close together. Smith only leading by 12 points now after finishing behind both Monaco and Bracken today. So yeah, your top 5 in the standings. Smith, Monaco, Bracken, the GOAT, and Samaya. Davis, Voiles, Harvey, Evans, and Trickle round out your top 10. Spurley, Wolf, Özkan, Morgan, Wells, Thomas, and Burnett, as mentioned, still mathematically eligible for the championship. But of course, their chances seem rather unlikely. Reggie Fogelman, PK, and Taiki round out your top 20, as mentioned. Cropley 21st, Shadowval 22nd. Behind them are Langestein, Flobo, Pepper, Jana Fogelman, Zane, Hicks, Jenkins, Sal, Austin, Charlebois, Lego, Allen, Abrahamian, White, Sato, Whitlock, Johnson, and still in last place, Franco. Bummer. Yeah, despite that win, Futlego is 33rd in the points, which seems to suggest that it was a fluke. Of course, most of the cars crashed out, but whatever. Where did Futlego finish today? 32nd after starting 20th. Ouch. Not ideal. So take a look at your stats here. Go with 10 wins, 10 poles, 10 top 5s, 15 top 10s. That's predictable enough. Yeah. Don't think much has changed. I don't think anybody from Smith, Monaco, and Bracken finished in the top 5 or even the top 10 today. Yeah. No DNFs today, but laps completed still Montero Sound with 97% of those, followed by Spurley, Cropley, Harvey, and Jana Fogelman, who all have 95%. As for laps led, the GOAT just running away with it now. He might very well have clinched the laps led contest. And, he's probably on to lead even more laps this season, to be honest. So there's that. Next race, UAW GM Quality 500. Who knows? A Chevy might actually win this race. or Pontiac, because they're also GM, but Gauline's going to be on Chevy, and don't let this image fool you. This is definitely a day race. It's been Hanafuda. It's been a time and a half, an honor, and I'll see you in the next video.